hear and everything is clear?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Good, good. How's everybody doing? Fine?
Yes, all are doing good. Thank you.
Oh, good. It's been an
Everybody's
interesting
good.
it's been an interesting experience. Now we're feeling more like running after Zoom conference meetings every 10, 20 minutes. And Brahmins now have so many options of, classes. And what a blessing. Who would have thought that this will be what this scene would have emerged for us? It's been a blessing. So today's Murli is powerful, and I decided to give all of you this. You see that? It's a crown. So I'm putting the crown on everyone's head because I really love what the Murli was sharing. I listened to it about 4 times this morning, and it was amazing how powerful it was, but also how timely it was for these particular times. So, Gita Ben, I read the Murli, yes?
Have the essence and share about that, go into depth of that, Murli.
Okay, great. I'll do that. Okay.
Because everybody received the Murli and they 2 days before, and they also have revised. So it will be nice to go into depth of that.
Sure, okay, all right. So we've just done some meditation. Can I invite everyone now to hold a moment of stillness with the experience that you're wearing your crown? You're now in the future, you're in the future golden age, and you've earned your crown. So just for a moment, emerge what the sanskars and the feelings will be with your crown. Om Shanti. Sometimes when I do these practices, it somehow reminds me of how high this path is. And I also get a first-hand view, how much have I really taken from Baba and have become the embodiment of Baba's teaching. And I know everything has to do with the Srimad inside, but also the physical forms of how that Srimad is represented. How does Srimad inside show itself in my actions? So when I was looking over the Murli, there were a few things, and I want to read them over to you, and then we go into depths. Baba was saying that he sees the crown, and secondly, he sees the throne, and then thirdly, the effort, and then fourth, the fortune. The crown, the throne, the effort, and then the fortune. And that vision and visual of our future is already recorded inside of the soul. So when we look at the capacity that we have developed over a long period of time, is the crown of purity or the crown of light, how far-reaching has it become? And if you get a pen and paper, I want you to write down these thoughts just very simply. How far-reaching has my crown of purity and my crown of light reached? And the second thing is, to what extent have I really fulfilled my responsibility, not just for myself, but for everyone in my contact? And is my effort, like this, or is my effort really sincere, really honest, really consistent? And Baba says, just based on that, you can see your fortune. And are you able to discern truthfully if the soul really has a future of fortune, or is it still just at a head level? So many of us still feel the head of Gyan versus the experience of Gyan. So when we look at the power to discriminate, and as the power of discrimination becomes more powerful, Baba says in all the areas we will feel success. Now, when I break down the energy of success, what's my crown of light like? What's my relationships like with others? One of the powers that I really love using is the power to discern. Like, am I really able to see the truth from illusion? Do I really know how to see that? And then, of course, how much am I able to recognize the power of my fortune has to do with how my mind, my relationships, my finances, my health, to what extent are all of those aspects cooperating with me? That's how I define fortune on many levels. How are they working for me? How do I see them falling into place for me? So everything Baba's keeping an account, but your conscience has an account. Your conscience has an account of every thought, word, deed, action you've performed. Your conscience has an account of every thought, word, and deed you've performed. Nobody has to tell you anything. Your heart knows what you've been doing. The proof is in the way my relationships are, my health, my mental state of mind, my finance. I was particularly touched by what was it in this Murli that you all chose that it seems so appropriate for the times that we're in. That service will happen in such a way that you won't even have a chance to sleep. And I'm saying we barely have a chance to sleep now, and people are at home every day, and there's still things happening. But he's again telling us, the power of the service of the mind will start to take place, which happens in your power of discrimination or discernment. But that we're going to reach a stage where whatever efforts we have made, from that place inside, your service will take place. I was talking to a few teachers and instruments, and it was so touching how so many sisters and instruments around the world, many are comfortable. I've spoke to just a few who are the only one person at the center, and all of them told me, Jen, I'm back in those early days where I was when I first came to Gyan. And I said, it's interesting because it's 4 of us here. And I said, it's interesting. Sister Gita is still here with me. That's the early days of my life. And I'm wondering how this particular scene is helping us to see how we've been doing and where we've been going. But more than anything else is how prepared where we were, because nobody has complained about this scene for them as a Brahmin. The only ones I've ever heard, the only complaint I've heard is too many Zoom meetings. That's the only complaint. But everyone is like settled as Brahmins. And it's as if we can see the work that's happening with us now is really a deep effort for the future service to come. This is nothing, you know. Baba said in the Murli, as you progress further, there will be obstacles. But this is why those who have become instruments, and that's all of us, will have to be very humble. To be humble means to renounce regard for yourself. And through renunciation, you receive greater power. The more you renounce, the more you will receive respect. Can I hold off here and ask you what you felt when you read just even the first part of the Murli? And share with me the practical things, not just the point from the Murli, but how has that point transmitted into your practical day-to-day life? Or, like you can grab that point and say, yes, I've seen how the point of the obstacles will come, but I remain humble. Things are not going my way, but I've observed 20 or 30%. I don't lose it. I stay easy. He says how when you're in service, you have to learn to be a child and a master, and the importance of giving respect to the seniors and the elders. To me, that symbolizes your own sense of self-respect. It's not that you're giving respect to an elder or somebody in a position. It's just that you have your self-respect. And it's natural for you to convey that, a senior, even a non-senior. But anyway, so tell me, what were you thinking on the first particular chapters of today's Murli? What practical realizations have you felt from the Murli in this Murli? Anyone can share.
Obstacles look like opportunities at this time.
Mm-hmm.
It has made me more humble, humility, and appreciative of Baba's blessings and companionship.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That's a very, very good point. Anyone else?
When Baba asked us whether you wear the crown constantly or you take it off, you leave it, that was like a wake-up call, because it is easy when we sit in yoga to be in that consciousness, whereas when we are doing our daily routine, we forget that crown. So that was my practical journey.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's why I brought the crown for everyone, because I wanted you all to see.
Yes, that was
That
really nice. Yeah.
I put it on all of you,
Yeah.
because I've been realizing that I will never be able to become what I can't see Baba's telling me I am. I may be able to see it in other people. I can see Gita Ben will be a Devta. I can see Vinu Ben will be a Devta. But I don't see that for me. And so if you can't even see the vision of your future, if I can't see myself with a crown of light and a crown on my head, I won't be inspired to make my effort more consistent. I go for it a little bit, then I go, that's for them, that's not for me. But when I really sit and say, Do I see myself? And everybody, you have to take time at this practice. Every day, even at Amrit Vela, what we do, we commit to 1 minute of yoga, of good wishes and blessings to one member in the family. And so either they send in their form or we emerge a form for them. And the entire BK family at 4:30 in the morning, just that one Brahmin, we just send those vibrations of empowering the soul with only that vibration. And the reason why I thought that was really important is each thought is like you're building a building, you're building a picture, you're painting something. Everything is coming together with each thought. And if a whole bunch of people can have the same thought about me, can you imagine the form that's taking place in my sanskaras? So if I can't see what Baba is telling me I'm going to become, I won't make the effort for it. Even if it's just mental effort, it's not the same as heart and head effort, where the mind and intellect are really engaged to emerge those sanskars. So I want you to remember this. Every morning when you wake up, just for 1 minute, what do you see you're becoming? Let that be a really big focus in the morning, and in 20 days, you'll feel a very big difference. Anyone else?
I feel for last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, with this attending more classes and everything, I see or I feel that I'm getting more and more knowledge of Baba. Even though I'm in Gnan for last 9 years, I still found that there were so many things I was missing or I didn't remember. And now it's coming back to me, and then it's helping me to do more and more yoga.
Yeah, good for you, good for you. It's been nice to feel the family more connected, more together. We're on the East Zone with New York, so, you know, Sister Mohini now is doing more classes, and she's doing morning Amrit Vela and morning Murlis. So a lot of our students are connecting to her because they've sent out an email to her. But this morning I was noticing that for the students that are staying with listening to the Murli every day here in the Amrit Vela, not many, about maybe 50 or so now, or 50 or 60 regularly every day in the morning. I was saying to Baba that I was feeling like the energy was splitting. I mean, it's Sister Mohini is doing Murli or doing Amrit Vela, and so of course souls are going to resonate with that quicker than maybe with the center that they go to all the time. But one of the things I was realizing, and it came up this morning when we had Dr. Savita for the Murli from Madhaban, is that we're at a point where the whole place perhaps is becoming united. And it's not about who's listening here, who's listening there. To what extent have you really opened up? To what extent have you really become so pure and so powerful that in your consciousness, brother, you feel like everything now in Baba's world has become one. Whether it's Bhatti in LA or Bhatti in New York or Bhatti in DC or Bhatti in, in the UK, the fact that we're all doing the same thing, there's something very powerful in it. And what I've been hearing is Brahmins are feeling just like you, brother. Like all these years, I wasn't getting it. And now it's like I am understanding. Baba was preparing us this whole time. Baba was saying today that for some folks, is it difficult for you to be in the point form? And today's Murli was perfect. Is it difficult for you to be in the point form, or is it difficult for you to be in soul consciousness? The weakness of not being able to stable yourself in the point form is that our first lesson of being a soul isn't firm. So for you and me and for our discrimination power to increase, am I listening in soul consciousness? When I'm done with my Zoom, do I get up from the chair in soul consciousness? Am I looking through my eyes in soul consciousness? Did I go to the kitchen, wash the dishes in that way? This is the time for us to make that first lesson firm. Soul consciousness is for this stage, for the physical stage of the world. The seed stage is a different stage. We have to practice soul consciousness here, not in the soul world. We don't need to practice soul consciousness in the soul world. We need to utilize that here. So Baba was saying that you can now experience yourself to be a bodiless soul while performing action. This practice throughout the day is needed. Be detached from practical matters, but come into action. And the more you experience this, the more you will stabilize yourself in the point form. And the issue is we're not paying much attention to that. Does everybody feel that their soul conscious power is strong? Everybody feels like I've really paid attention to the first lesson? And if so, why do you think it's become very strong?
Sister, I joined the Brahma Kumaris Center in LA from 1 month, and I've been listening to Sister Geeta Ben's Murli every day. My mind
Welcome.
was disturbed today, but since I listened to you, what you just said, it has become calm now. And the first lesson is for that I am soul. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, it's like the first lesson. One is at the beginning, when we got the course back in the day, we used to focus on the point, right? The point of light. I'm a point of light behind my eyes. And as we matured, and I can speak for myself, as I started to mature, it's like, yeah, I know I'm a point. I know the point of energies behind my eyes. So you realize that the point of light here is a reference. It's a reference. But what is the experience when I'm in soul consciousness? Obviously, sister, you know what it feels like to be soul conscious because you said earlier on in the day, I felt like my mind was disturbed. But when I got onto the call to hear some good thoughts and good class, my mind got settled. So what is soul consciousness? When there's purity in my mind, when there's good feelings, when there are pure wishes, when I'm able to rise above the opinions of others, when I don't take people's criticisms or judgments to heart. You understand, like soul consciousness is such a pure feeling. So Baba is saying in that practice, and that's what Brahmins need more than anything now, that when you're walking and when you're moving around doing basic actions, do you do it with that soul conscious vibe? Do you move with the energy? I am a soul, I am pure, I'm from Paramdam. But what type? I make friends wherever I go. I'm Baba's beloved child. I am here to cooperate. I am here to support. Baba's using me to reveal him. Baba's using, these are all thoughts of soul consciousness, you know. So when you're in action, check that those thoughts are the kinds of thoughts to nourish you. Because if you're having thoughts about, I can't believe he did this, why did she do this? Or they're just repeated thoughts of waste, it's body consciousness and my connection to Baba is broken. So this particular time of silence, we're getting so clear. Our discernment and our discrimination power is getting so clear. Just the other day, you know, everyone, it's 4 of us here, and we've been living like it's heaven. Bapdada, Murli, meetings in the day, everybody's doing their duty. Sometimes we get a rest in the afternoon. There's not a lot of coming and going and moving around. And one day, something was happening, nothing bad at all. But somehow, when I was involved in that scene, my spirit got disturbed. And as I sat there and I'm looking at the scene and I'm going, what's wrong, Jen? Why do you feel bothered by this? And I watched how my thoughts were going to, oh, they do this all the time. I know it's because of this that they're doing this now to me. And it went on to about 5 or 6 thoughts, right? And I'm being honest, 5 or 6 thoughts where I felt like, you know, I was the victim. And I got quiet. And I just got quiet that day. And I was saying, is it me? Or is it them? Is it me? Or is it them? And I had to do that hard work on that day. And everybody, for the first time in weeks, my spirit got weird. It wasn't soul conscious. So when I spoke to Baba, I said, Baba, I don't, after this bhakti, I don't want petty things to shake me inside. So as I spoke with Baba all day, everybody in the family kind of saw I was quiet, but it took a toll on my power. Even the next day, I felt like, what just happened to me? It was like I was hit by a bus. And after the Amrit Vela, Baba whispered to me, and he said, any waste feelings, that's your fault. It doesn't matter what anyone has done or said or not done, but if you have any waste feelings or waste thought, this is your fault, and I can't help you. And so why I'm telling you the story is that this time that we have, it's a great time to check where these thoughts and feelings are coming from. So this morning when you were disturbed, you have to ask yourself, why? What am I looking for here? What do I want? Why do I feel like the victim? Why am I not getting what I think I deserve? And sort it out so deeply with Baba that Baba will somehow signal and tell you the answer. It's this. It's this. And then you can move on to another level. Okay? So,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Om Shanti.
So practice being detached. The point form is a detached stage anyway. But Baba's saying it is incorporeal and detached. When you stabilize yourself in the stage of the incorporeal and detached, you will have the experience of the point form. So here's the big point, everyone. Whilst you're walking and moving around, you will start to experience the angelic stage. You'll feel light. Avyakt. Your thoughts will be pure. The power of this thought form is that you won't even waste your thoughts or your energy. There is a part that he says that I feel that we're having this feeling now. Baba says you'll experience the day and night to be like 2 hours. That we're approaching that stage now, that we'll become so busy in service from our practice that night and day, it's all the same. It's all the same. All right. Everybody's okay? Enjoying this little chit-chat, heart-to-heart moment?
It's when
Yes.
you said about, while walking and moving around, like, you have to listen, be more in soul conscious. I do experience that, when I go for walks, I have my meditation going on in my ears when I'm walking. So I think of myself like I'm a soul, and it's not my legs that is walking, the soul is doing the work of walking
It's a
with my
great,
legs
great.
to the legs. So when I think that way, and when I go for when I'm walking and meditating, I can really feel very light. I don't feel that I'm walking, and I don't feel the distance also, like how much I'm walking. I cannot feel the distance, and I feel light, and I feel like I don't feel that, my legs are there, that way. Like I just
Yeah.
feel very light when I walk.
Oh, that's a good stage. That's a good
Yeah.
stage. I remember I've seen so many instruments, even some Brahmins who are not teachers. I've seen the dadis for sure. They just disappear in front of my eyes. And is it my stage or is it their stage? It could be both. But I feel like more it must be a stage that they're practicing. And what Baba is doing, based on a message that came from Madhaban, Baba is saying that we should make such incognito, such deep effort now, that the next form of service is that souls will begin to have visions. That upon them seeing us, talking to us, they will even more feel the vision of their future more than our words. And even if they're not physically seeing us or talking to us, our subtle form, based on the efforts that we've made, souls from across the world will have a vision of you and will come to Baba or recognize Baba or feel Baba. So I think it's a powerful time. So that experience that you're having is a very good one.
But only thing is, I have to keep reminding myself every time, Yeah. Sometimes I do forget, but then again, when I remember, I'll say, oh yeah, I was so.
It's true. It's true. It's true. And now that you're at home, we can take advantage of more paying attention to the little actions. What I do, everyone, is even if I'm opening up the drawer in the dining room, or I'm going into the bathroom, or I'm opening up the curtains, I open up the laptop. Every moment I get where I can be conscious, I try to put that vibration of spirituality. I go, Baba, let's open this together. I mean, seriously, because I'm not running around like I'm accustomed to doing. I remember Sister Wadi was saying, Jen, are you managing okay? Because I know you usually have a different routine than all of us. I said, listen, I can live like this for another 10 years. I'm loving it. Because it's the simple things, like how I'm even folding my clothes. Like I was just seeing the difference of that, like practicing that vibration. When I put the clothes in the washing machine, usually when I'm rushing, or the sisters usually do it, but now I'm doing most of the stuff too. But I just put it in like one at a time, and I'm feeling like it's the angel that's putting the clothes in the washing machine. As simple things, everyone, wipe down the counter instead of, it's like, just keep practicing that. Baba says now there will be very little time for your income to be made after all of this. So you earn your income through serving others, but now take the maximum benefit from the little time that remains. Otherwise, you will remember this time that you had. Therefore, whatever you are like, whatever stage you have reached, the circumstances are not going to change. Do not think that you will earn an income when there aren't so many difficulties. They will adopt even larger form day by day. But even whilst being in these situations, your stage has to be very strong. This is why Baba's asking you to pay greater attention. Baba's told you about the crown of responsibility, right? And he's telling you about the importance of how to take care of yourself inside, how to be able to really wear the real crown. Your humility becomes kind of like that self-respect that you sit in and conduct all of your affairs with this. Did you like the part that Baba had spoken about the pen of fortune? That when you pick up the pen kalam, you remember the lotus flower kamal. What was your interpretation of that point that he gave us? When you pick up the pen, which is of your karmas, remember your lotus stage, the kamal. How do you see that playing out practically?
Detached observer.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to almost the first point of the crown of responsibility. He's actually wanting us to be so removed from the grossness of the world. Haven't you seen that? Everything he does and teaches us is to get rid of that gross mentality. Anyone else has any thoughts?
I think for me, the Kamal represents like the only pick the pearls. That means only pick the good
Qualities, yeah.
qualities of everyone. And I think for that, we have to be really stay in the awareness whenever we think, or the first thing is thoughts. I would say, I think if you fill yourself with really pure thoughts, then your actions and karma and everything gets aligned and balanced together. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
nice.
yeah, Om Shanti.
No, that was nice. That was nice. So again, you know, everything, the first place to keep checking thoughts and feelings. And sometimes when we're not subtle enough to check that, just look at how you're behaving. Look at how you're sitting. Look at how you're eating. Look at how you're walking. Look at how you're cooking. Look at how you're running around. That will show you the state of consciousness you're in. And if you can be honest enough to observe your behavior and the way you're carrying yourself and be honest to turn it around, then you can go back to that. Let me just take a back step. Let me take a breath. Baba, be my companion. Slow me down. You are the one that's doing the task. I'm, you know, all the methods that you can use. Baba, I'm your child. You know, all these methods.
I think that's what I sometimes have to do. Like I have to really talk to Baba. Like some situation comes and just like you said, the mind gets little disturbed, but then you are in the awareness because I have been in Gyan for a long time. So the awareness comes right away, but then you have to talk to Baba. And as soon as you stay in remembrance, I think everything comes back together.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I want to mention for souls, and I know you know this, souls who have been with Baba for a long time, their efforts have to be really deep now, because the karmic creation of fortune now is on a thought level. And to what extent am I recognizing my thoughts, either thoughts from past karmic debt, that there's still karmic accounts? It has to first come from a thought level before it even becomes physical. And also the thoughts of service. And how benevolent am I, especially to souls who have been very, you know, unkind, and souls who might not have had a lot of virtues towards me, or souls who I have a karmic account with. How much are my thoughts benevolent? And I'm seeing this for older Brahmins, that their effort has to be so much more subtle and much more deeper, because they've been on the journey for a long time. And in order for them to maintain the kind of a power that's needed to stay the course until the final destination. It has to be very subtle, really, really subtle, which something Daddy Janki had said in one of her sessions way back in the days in Pandab Bhavan. She says, the thought has to check the thought. It has to actually check the thought behind the thought. And I remembered all of us paused and I go, how do I check the thought behind the thought? And what she was saying is check that the intentions are so pure that success is guaranteed for you. Success in the way you think, success in your finance, success in your relationships, success with the health of your body. And I've always remember that point. Check behind the thought. What does that thought mean? So Baba continues to share so much about the service that we're going to do. He says to a lot of the teachers and a lot of Brahmins, majority of you have a surrendered intellect, but you remain ready for service all the time, and this is why you're ever ready. Now put the jewels of all these specialities onto the crown of responsibility that you've received. Only then will you be accurately fulfilling your responsibilities. Let there be newness in all the service, the exhibitions. At the moment, people think that the knowledge is good, but when they see whatever you have told them, they should think without asking any questions that they have found an easy path. They have found an easy path. They have found an easy path. Powerful. So, do you feel like you have become an image of success? All the time or sometimes? Sometimes, right? Something else that I've been doing that I think it will help you. Every day, try to write on a piece of paper what thoughts are coming up that you feel like you're hiding. And I'll explain what I mean. Everybody has something inside of them that is still a little bit unfulfilled. Something is there. Either you want more attention, you want more money, you want recognition, you want more power, you want to lose weight. I'm just giving you a variety of examples. But as much as you want it, it's just sitting inside of you privately because you haven't put the right thoughts towards that area to fulfill that vision. Remember, I've told you when I was in LA last time, my vision or my aim is completely different than a desire. The vision and the aim is predestined. It's going to move me, but the desire pulls you back. So there's a big difference between aim and vision versus desire. So when we say we want to fulfill a recognition, or I want to lose weight, or I want to be healthier, but you're walking quietly with that feeling like, why does Sister Gita always talk to me like this? I'm just giving you an example. But you never tell Sister Gita, like, stop talking to me like this. I deserve to be respected like anyone else. But inside, you hold that feeling, she always talks to me so wrong. Why does she always treat me that way? That's the thought I want you to identify. Every day, if you get one of those thoughts, which is something in your personality that feels unfulfilled or is still blocking your connection to Baba, it's something you don't ever want to talk about. It's not that you're ashamed of, but you feel like it's a weakness and you don't even know how to address it. Write it on a piece of paper, everyone, in Baba's remembrance. Read it over and look at it and say, Baba, what is the fix? What is the cure? What aspect of thought, which is Gyan, do I need to fulfill this to heal this? And you'll see little by little, some benefit starts to come over you and that energy starts to leave you. So I've been working on something and the family knows here, so I've told them, I just want my chit to be clean. Just make my chit clean. I don't want any issues after this. I want my chit clean. So anytime it comes up, the other day I was just passing bread and the thought came up, the issue, and I went, oh wow. And I stopped and I told the family, see, look at how it comes up in me. Like I'm wanting something. And only I and Baba can fulfill this. And then I took a minute and I went back in. I go, what do you want, Jen? What is the solution here? How are you planning to heal this? And little by little, the thoughts were coming and the vibrations were coming. And I was like, oh, it's getting a little better. So I would offer you that as a practice to use for your success and to sharpen your power of discrimination and discernment, which would be a very, very big virtue that's needed. It has worked wonders for me. Honestly, it has worked wonders. All right, so I think I went on too much. I know we're getting to the close of our day together. Is there anything anyone would like to share before I close off with a meditation?
Sister,
Yes,
can you tell me a little bit more about, maybe not as much, but soul consciousness? I think I really want to work on that. Versus
Yeah.
soul consciousness versus the point of light. Like.
Mm. Okay, well, it was similar to how I check on soul consciousness is like even now. When you asked me about soul consciousness, did you come from that place of soul consciousness?
No idea.
But you see, your soul knows. Do you see how powerful that is? So it's those little steps that Baba just wants us to take. I was on, whenever I say yes to conference calls or meetings and I don't check in with Antonia, I end up overbooking myself. And today I had about maybe a window of 5 minutes to prepare for our program today, even though it was on my mind. And I kept holding it and I kept listening to the Murli this morning, even after Amrit Vela 3 times. I was like, what a powerful Murli, how present is it? And I watched myself getting a little rushed, and then I says, no, I'll just tell Geeta Ben I need a minute. So what happened was I had to pull myself into that soul-conscious place, or else I wouldn't be able to give my best to this scene. So the practice of soul consciousness, I would suggest, take a breath, breathe in, pause. Like everyone's patient now. Like you'll come on the Zoom and you want to ask a question. Just, okay, soul, speak. Sister, tell me, give me some more tips for soul consciousness. And because you're becoming conscious of feeding the real energy of the soul will develop a habit of signaling to you to stay in that place. And when you come out of that place, you will also catch a very strong signal. Baba used to say in the Murli, is it easy for you to come into sound versus to stay in silence? So he would always trigger and say, we're so accustomed to sound that we don't feel comfortable with silence anymore. So soul consciousness is where you really practice, like, the soul, I'm going to ask Sister this question. And you automatically start to feel that you're slowing down.
So every time I do any karma, I have to say to myself that I, the soul, is doing this for Baba's benefit. for
You
Baba
can,
who meant.
you can say that, and the way that I would look at it to be very practical is that Baba, I might not be soul conscious all the time, every time I want to be, but I really plan to be as present, as soul aware as I can in my actions. So be with me as much as you can.
Okay.
When you speak like that to Baba, to me, it develops a much more sincere and powerful relationship with Baba than when we intellectually with the head go, Baba, so always I have to practice this soul consciousness and then do it. And when you don't do it, you're not even aware that, you're not so conscious. So now it's as if you're carrying all the plate of food in your hand and everything drops to the floor and you're not bothered. At soul consciousness. Yoga is, imagine the sun is shining. That's Baba. The clouds are there. Those are our karmic sanskaras. You don't care about how many clouds are there. You're very focused on, I know Baba's there, the sun, and he's always there for me. And there's always benefit in every scene that I perform. But there's a little karmic account here, I can see it. But Baba, I'm with you. And then you apply the aspect of whatever Gyan or Srimad he gives you for certain circumstances. So remember that image, everyone. Sometimes as Brahmins, we focus too much on the cloud and forget that the sun is still shining. The sun is there, but we don't see the sun because we're focusing on the karma, the person, the weakness, the expectation. So that's how we have to practice. We have to change up the way we see ourselves and each other for the real power to come in now. Any other thoughts or points?
Thank you, Om Shanti.
That was very beautiful, sister. Cloud and
Yeah.
the sunlight.
Yeah. Because Baba is there. When Baba gives us his name of Shiva Baba, the constant benefactor, I used to think about that a lot. And I go, how can he be constant and I don't feel him constant? What's the problem? Baba is constant, but I don't feel him constant. And then I realize he's constant, that he is constantly giving light, but we are having an issue with receiving it because we're focused on the clouds. So be aware of your karmic accounts, but don't forget the light is there. So you're not alone in the storm or in the cloud. You're aware that I have to sort this out. And Baba is constantly there. So always leave a little crack in your consciousness to get some of Baba's light in to give you the power. Always. That you can say always, you must do. Always.
When Baba is constantly in consciousness, what does that mean?
Baba is not constantly in consciousness, but Baba as an energy is a constant energy of, again, like the sun. It's a constantly flowing vibration. I've been doing a lot of research on this one, everyone. So there's this constant, let me just say, there's this constant vibration, morning, noon, and night. I want you to imagine this. It's constantly being given. But you
I
end up
feel that.
Right. So it's constantly there, but sometimes, oh, my mother-in-law, or my husband, oh, why did he talk that way? Then the block comes, but Baba is constantly giving. So what we come to realize is that the attachment we have to the karmic accounts of the past, which Baba calls Maya, that is blocking the connection for us to receive the power. So here, in this incubation, Baba's saying, okay, I don't know if you're having any issues with anyone in the house, but push that aside for now and recognize I am here constantly filling you up with rays of light and might and power, but are you taking it? So the first form to be just open to Baba's power is soul consciousness. Not thinking about what I want, what happened to me 10 lifetimes ago, how much money I lost in the market, who did this to me, who shouldn't have done this to me. And you have to recognize how deep those karmas and bruises are in your personality. Because if you're not honest, you don't even know the cloud is there. And you think Baba's somewhere around, but it's really the cloud that you're focusing on. So again, paying attention is the key to our success as well. Okay?
Yes.
Anyone have any last one question? Then we can go into meditation.
Sister, when you are in a crowd only, you know what your stage is. When you're alone, it's okay.
I agree. I agree. It's not easy when you're totally by yourself. I think sometimes to really do the work, because sometimes when you're by yourself, you're not as attentive. But because of all these Zoom meetings and stuff, we can try our best. And I recommend individuals who are by themselves just stay busy in their houses. Sort out every corner of your apartment or your house till there's nothing else to clean. Go for walks. Call a Brahmin. Talk to a Brahmin. At least speak to 1 or 2 Brahmins per day. Make sure it has nothing to do with gossiping. Maybe you can start with the current times. Talk about the current Murli. Talk about what you felt for the day. Share and listen to their experience. Maybe read a blessing to each other. You know, listen to the classes. Then you get help and support. It depends on just the personality, how much they're willing to make that much effort by themselves without support from people and situations. But you guys are Los Angeles, man. You're the angels of America. So you have this. You can make this happen.
Thank you.
But it's so wonderful.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sister.
so
Thank
nice to
you.
connect with all of you again. And hopefully I'll see you all corporeally soon, if not corporeally, in subtle form. We can meet each other in the subtle regions.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Jenna now
Thank you a lot.
Om
conduct the
Shanti.
meditation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenna, conduct the meditation. Just give few minutes.
Okay. All right, so let's take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And just ask yourself, Baba, have I made Baba my world? Or is there still a pull here and there? Just start with this question. And now focus on the awareness behind your eyes, the soul. Just go behind your eyes. It's where your world exists, your real world. It's behind your eyes. And after coming to Baba, slowly, your attachments to your form, name, gender, language, country, title, role starts to fade. And what starts to become more obvious is the energy of Baba's presence and vibrations, where the soul starts to feel pure love, pure peace, pure intoxication. In this moment of stillness, being with Baba, allow your form, your future form, to emerge as we sit in silence. See your future form now. All right, thank you, Gita Ben, for this chance. And I already see your form as the living deity that you are. It's so easy with you.
Thank you.
Lots
Thank
of
you. It was more like clarity, and according to today's Murli also, Baba talks about his remembrance. So everybody got the message about the how to be in soul conscious stage. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, everybody. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister
Thank
Gita
Jenna.
you.
Ben.
Oh,
Nice to see
Shanti.
you.
It was
Thank
very
Bye.
you.
nice. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om
Thank you.
Shanti.
Shanti. Thank you.
Thank